Slam Shady Baby. That is the message I got from a friend recently who just caught their personal best redfish on artificial lures using the Slam Shady 2.0. This thing catches everything, big or small, it catches them all. It has over, I think, 130 documented different species caught on this one lure. I don't know of any other paddle tail or swim bait that can say that. Will this catch every single thing? And is it the best lure ever? No, there's not such a thing. There are certain instances when you need certain specific lures and depth changes, etc. But in general, just to go out and catch fish, whether you're on a dock just trying to catch a bass, or if you're trying to catch a snook or a trout, anything inshore, this thing is amazing. You need it in your tackle bag. Go to fishstrong.com and get yours and pair it up with that Haas Helix. That is that weedless weighted hook, the Haas Helix hook. I recommend going with a 1/8 and a 3/0 hook. And we've got the Slam Shady 2.0 in both 7-packs and 100 packs. Go get yours today at fishstrong.com. And remember, Insider members save 20% or more on everything in our store. So go check it out now. And here's the podcast.
This fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Is this the biggest scam in the fishing tackle industry? Hey, everybody, Joe Simons. Like diamonds?
Hey, Luke Simons.
Like diamonds. Before we get into this is going to be a hard-hitting, maybe even controversial podcast. And if you didn't watch last week's, I think it was one of the most commented on posts we've done. And I say post because we put it as a podcast on Apple and Stitcher, and we put it into YouTube and our blog, and it got a ton of engagement. It was about wind knots. So this one today is also about line, just in a way different aspect. But if you haven't gone and seen that one, please watch it. In general, Luke, like what's the main premise, right? That wind knots are not caused by what you think they're caused by.
Yeah,
a lot of people think it's the wind, it's. I'll let you say it.
Yeah, wind knots are caused by the retrieve, not the cast. So the cast is when it's seen, right? You on the cast, the wind knot is when it occurs, but the cause is from the retrieve before, and we go into details on how to make sure that you minimize your risk of them in that longer podcast.
And not just any retrieve, the retrieve right before it actually happened and how to prevent that. So it was really, really hard-hitting, eye-opening. I learned a ton. I know a lot of people were like, holy smokes, I never even thought about that. That makes complete sense. So go listen to that one as well. All right, let's get into today. So what if I asked you if you would pay 5 to even 18 times more for a fishing line that was not as abrasion resistant, not as strong in terms of tying knots and overall strength, and may or may not change the visibility? Would you pay 5 to 18 times more? Luke? Rhetorical question, but
It'd be a hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, people are doing it every day, and we've done multiple videos. And let me even, I guess, add on to that. Would you pay 5 to 18 times more with all that stuff if you had a line that was not superior and there was no proof that it was? That's still the thing that befuddles me. Sorry for the big word. I know we said we use no really big words on here, but it really does, because we've done now multiple years of testing ourselves on mono versus fluoro. And in the beginning, it was very much, hey, we're just scientists. We're not even telling you. We love feedback. We've asked for feedback from the manufacturers of the line, and there's just nothing. There's literally no proof that says otherwise. Because we'd love to be wrong here. I'd love to have a superior line. I would be willing to pay for it if it was proven superior, but it just continues to not be. And every time we ask for someone to come up with true evidence, no one has any. It's mind-boggling. So if you don't know and haven't caught on, fluorocarbon line, in particular, fluorocarbon leader line, is probably one of the biggest scams, is what we're kind of saying and asking still, because we would still love proof otherwise. But it just doesn't make sense that so many people keep spending their hard-earned money on this when you don't need it.
Yeah, and I say hard pass. Yet I spent thousands of dollars on fluorocarbon line over the years because I thought that all the hype about it was true. I thought that it was invisible to fish. I thought that it was more abrasion than like anything else, particularly mono. But then when I started looking at the fine details, they never say more abrasive than mono. It just says like 25% more abrasion. Like then what? And
Then your mama.
and then strength as well. And so, yeah, I was a hardcore fanatic on fluorocarbon. I believed it. I was spending my lawn mowing money, like when I was, just making money mowing lawns. And in high school, it was all going to fluorocarbon. And that's why I'm just so mad. Like when I shouldn't have been spending money for premium line, I was doing so. And worst of all, now that I've been testing it, it's provably worse than mono. So not only is it just not better, it's provably worse, and the most important attributes that I've tested. And so, yeah, I'm just mad that I fell for it, and I'm just like to spread the word so that there aren't people like me who just had false beliefs and were overpaying for something that actually underperforms.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that look up to you, Luke, in particular, in the overall fishing community and in our insider community. I mean, even we went out fishing yesterday with a captain who uses fluoro in many cases, and Luke caught a slam, before anyone else using mono. Luke doesn't use fluoro. And so all these fish that you're seeing Luke catch in the slams and even entering in tournaments, it is all done with monofilament, old school, not needing fluoro. So, I mean, you're proof in the pudding on top of us actually taking the time and buying the equipment to test this stuff out side by side. So let's talk about it's kind of comes down to three things that a lot of people have the misconception that fluoro is better. What are those?
So, I mean, number one is it's visibility, right? That's why that's why I bought it. I can only speak for myself. And that's what most of the marketing is driven towards is, hey, fish can't see it, so you're going to catch more fish if you use fluorocarbon. And then I think the other ones is like almost like a by the way. By the way, it's also stronger and more abrasion resistant. So that like my, again, before tournaments, I was the point where if I was like low on fluorocarbon, I realized it the night before, I'm like driving to a tackle store to get it. Because I would not let myself be out of my beloved fluoro. At that point, I was using the Seaguard Blue Label, which is at least one of the, it's one of the fluoros I've done the most testing on, but I've tested a lot of them, and none of them can beat regular mono when equating the line differences too. Like this isn't, those who are probably listening who have done a little bit of research, typically fluoro is thinner. Almost all cases, like a 20-pound fluoro is going to be a little bit thinner than a 20-pound mono. So when I've done the testing, I equate diameters, not the line rating, because line rating is kind of fluff, but the diameter is an actual fact. And so even when equating line diameters, the regular mono, from what I've done so far, it totally outperforms the fluoro, especially with abrasion. Like I go after the snook, it's my favorite species, and I've lost so many fish over the years with fluoro, and I just thought, I just had an issue, but like it was a fluoro completely disintegrates once it gets some sort of sharp object. So for saltwater anglers, there's a lot of sharp objects. There's oysters, there's hard shell on the bottom, the teeth. A lot of our target fish have teeth. And if you have fluorocarbon line that's getting abrased, it completely disintegrates. I shouldn't say completely disintegrates. Relative to mono, it does not hold up, and that's terrible because you're paying more for something that does worse.
Well, let's go back to how you started this. You said visibility. I know we've done quite a few videos on that. And I mean, maybe in the murkiest, dirtiest water ever, fish can't see it, but they can't see mono either at that point. It's almost like saying, yeah, the fish can't see this fluoro line, even though all of our eyes can in any kind of water, most waters. But you know what? They do see the treble hooks on there. They're still going to hit it though. Like it's pretty silly if you really think about it, right? Like they can't see the line, but they see all this other stuff, including hooks dangling off of it and other stuff. They're going to snag them and catch them. What have you seen in terms of that visibility, knowing that was kind of your your number one reason for buying it back in the day?
Well, it's hard to, you can't really see anything. And because there is the science behind it, behind fluoro, behind the benefits of fluoro, which I believe, and it's possibly true, but does it actually make a difference is the big question. And I did a test to see if it made a difference, but the scientific claim is that fluorocarbon is less visible to fish because it has less refraction of light going through the line, because it's more similar to the density of water. So, and actually fluorocarbon, both fluorocarbon and mono, they're both nylon lines. So like they're not different, totally different lines. Fluorocarbon is just slightly denser of a very similar material. So there's going to be less refraction of light, which is technically true. But the big question is, does that even matter? Like, do fish see the bending of light through the line, or do they see the reflection of light off of the exterior of the line? I would argue that it's the exterior, and there's no study of fluoro being better than mono with reflecting light off of it. And as far as refraction, that perhaps does make a difference for, like, I don't know, people going after marlin and stuff with really thick line. But those of us inshore anglers who are using, 30-pound leader, in most cases, it's so thin that the refraction of light going through the line, I would be shocked if it's any issue at all. And I did a test. It's not a perfect test, but I did as good a test as I could do where for probably about a year and a half, once I started realizing that the abrasion was so far off, which was causing me to lose snook, I started doing kind of informal tests where I would have a couple rods with fluoro, a couple with mono, and I would just do fluoro some and then mono the other. And after a while of doing it, I could not tell a difference in strikes. So I was purposely trying to see was I getting more strikes with fluorocarbon or not. And in doing so, I saw no difference in the strikes I got, like the strike per hour metric. So I couldn't tell a difference. Therefore, I don't think the fish can see the difference. But I was seeing a noticeable difference in the fish that I lost. So I had much more breakoffs with fluorocarbon than I did regular mono, because of what I just mentioned. And I have a lot of tests. I built a test assembly for abrasion, and I built it to prove how good fluoro was. Like, I was that bought into it, where I was going to prove to members why you should pay more money for fluorocarbon. And I was blown away, like absolutely blown away. But at first I was doing 20 pound versus 20 pound. And that was okay. Maybe it was just line diameter. So let me equate the line diameters. And for every test I've done a lot of different lines. A 15-pound mono will be a 20-pound fluoro all day long, every time, whether it's Seaguar or not Invisbraid, the Berkeley Vanish. Again, all of them I could get my hands on, I did the test on, and they all failed. They all failed much quicker than regular mono.
Which begs the question, why, if all this is true, and the manufacturers don't have any real proof. And by the way, it used to be, I remember way back in the day, you mentioned that fluorocarbon's invisible, and that was like a term that people threw around. And I think even some, I'm not going to name any names, but I believe, I'm talking decades ago when it first started coming out, that maybe that was something that a manufacturer might have said, and they have pulled back on that. I don't think anyone's claiming it's invisible. I think you said it perfectly when you said it's less visible, potentially less visible than mono. We don't know until one of us can mutate into a fish. We're really not going to know what they see, but it's not invisible to a fish.
Well, according to a lot of commenters on prior videos,
commenters fine, but manufacturers, yeah,
somebody has been saying it's invisible, because that's what a lot of consumers are spouting back. But yeah, but there are a lot of people that I believe, right, that say, oh my gosh, like I switched to fluoro and I'm getting more strikes, and that is surely a fact. But is it?
Why is that surely a fact?
Because if they're getting more strikes on a 20-pound fluoro than a 20-pound mono, that makes sense, because the fluoro is thinner. So because that's why, like, the fish are less able to see a thinner line, regardless of material, right? Like, and if the materials are similar, refraction aside, I don't believe that's even a thing. But if fish see reflection, and it's obviously that's going to be based on thickness, And if one line's thicker than the other, the thinner line is going to have the less chance of getting seen, therefore get the most strikes.
It doesn't even matter. Like my point earlier, like you got treble hooks on the back or
it matters.
jig head.
Matters. So the true test, because it matters. Like otherwise, why don't we always use 100-pound leader? Therefore, we never break off, right? Like it matters, especially, and it matters. It matters more or less. So obviously, the clearer the water and the calmer the conditions, the more it matters. And if we're fishing at night in murky water, we probably could get away with 80-pound mono, or 80-pound leader. But I have not yet met anybody who has actually put some thought into doing a test that would test the mono and fluoro of similar diameters. So when I'm doing my testing, I'll put the 15-pound mono against a 20-pound fluoro, knowing that they have the same diameter. And when I do that, I do not see a difference in strikes at all. And again, and that 15-pound mono is going to hold up to those bigger fish with sharper teeth better than a 20-pound fluoro. So again,
isn't the diameter? It's so micro that it's almost irrelevant. Obviously, 20 to 80 is, but 20 to 20. I mean, compared to like that's not like saying 20-pound mono versus 20-pound braid. Like that was a massive difference when people went to braid. Like, man, this is like noticeably thinner. I don't notice that much. I don't think if you grab 9 random people off the street that they could tell if you said mono versus fluoro, they could tell a huge difference of 20 to 20.
But there's a lot of people that say, oh my gosh, there's a lot of diehard fluorocarbon. They swear they get more strikes. And I'm just saying it's, So what I'm hearing you say is that could be one reason that someone would use it. I'm just trying to help fluoro out any way we can. Like that, if 20 to 20, that would be a reason someone might use fluoro. Only if they couldn't get 15-pound mono, right? Like it's So if they had to do a 20-pound line for whatever reason, then sure. But like they're better off getting the 15-pound mono. Like a spool of mono costs, was it $450 for 50 yards, or you get a 25-yard spool of fluoro for $15. So it's like, why would you spend, what is it? 9 times more when you don't have to. So I think the benefit of fluoro, it does sink faster. So like for those who really want to get their lines down for whatever reason, that would be a benefit of fluoro. I think that's a big con. I want to keep my line as high as possible to get it off the bottom. I never want to do anything to get my line lower. I want to have a bow in the line, so I'm not doing the ghost tap where, like, if you're going over a fish, the worst thing that can happen is your line hits the fish before it sees your lure, because it's like getting tapped on the back by when you don't think anything's there, you spook off. So yeah, I think I can't think of any reason to use fluoro, to be honest. Let's go. Keep going. I was going to say, if you know that the simple answer is just to go thinner on mono to get the same amount of strikes, like I can't think of any reason to use fluoro.
I think there's going to be maybe some fly anglers that would say they want a certain fly and a tippet to sink at a rate, like maybe some really technical stuff.
And I did a test on sink rate, and so fluorocarbon. So both sink. So there's a misconception that mono floats. It does not float. Well, like sometimes you can get a small strand to float for a little bit, but once it breaks the tension on the surface, then it sinks, and fluorocarbon sinks about twice the rate of mono. And I tested the thin mono as well as some thicker mono, and it was both about 2x. So it does matter. It matters. That matters mostly for people who use full line of mono or fluoro. But if it's just a leader, if it's just say like a 30-inch leader, like that's not enough to like pull your lure down a lot. For fly anglers, they're going to have a 9-foot tippet of either fluoro or mono, and full 9 feet sinking at twice the rate could make a difference. But I think for the common angler, like the weekend warrior, I don't think should be messing with fluoro at all. It's just going to decrease the odds of landing fish.
What about this whole fluoro leader line that also seems to be priced even higher than just fluoro in a small spool? What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just fluoro, same with mono. Like I've been just using Andy because it's been testing well, and I can get the bulk spool or the leader spool. And I've tested them to see if there's any difference. I can't tell a difference. I think it's the same line. I just think the wrist spools are more for convenience. Like you don't want to have, I like to have a lot of options on my leaders. I try to get as light as I possibly can get away with based on the conditions and the fish that I'm targeting. And I don't want to have, 6 of these things taking up my whole tackle bag. And then the same for fluoro. So I did some, the Blue Label, I don't think has the bulk spools. I did test Seaguar's Red Label. They have the leader spools as well as the 200-yard spools under the same Red Label brand. And I couldn't tell a difference on those lines. And so I think these leader spool things are more for just convenience of having with you in your tackle bag than having I used to think it was more abrasive resistant. And that was what I tested, and I couldn't tell a difference. But maybe some are. I don't know. Just the ones I've tested, I couldn't tell a difference. So when I'm doing my personal leaders, at home, when I'm setting up, I use the bulk spools just because this is like 3 cents per yard versus the wrist spool, which is 9 cents per yard. So just might as well just keep these at the house and then just take these with me on the water.
It's kind of like gum. It's all about packaging. The normal gum comes in a 5-pack. I get this big boy. 15 sticks, Luke. I mean, you've had this before, the sweet watermelon. You swear by it. I know everyone loves that sweet water, and it does smell so good. It's a cheesy looking gum, but man, kids like it, girls like it, and I like it.
Yeah, and to that too, that's good. It's good stuff. But to that point, there very well might be some leader lines that are actually different for abrasion. I just personally haven't seen it, so I'm not saying that it's not out there. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, we'd love comments on this. We're not here to preach per se. Just like before, we have a pretty good opinion on this now after doing this for so long, but we still just want feedback. We're trying to help everyone out, including ourselves. Like I said, if there's something superior, I'll pay for it. It's just that we haven't seen it proof in the pudding, which begs the question: why do retailers, manufacturers, et cetera, still push this? Why are there sponsorships for this if it's really not any better? It's a lot of things in life go back to money. I'll be honest, we sell mono and we sell fluoro at fishrun.com. We make a whole lot more money on fluoro. There's a whole lot more money there when you have something that's 5 to 18 times more. There's a whole lot more money for everyone. I prefer money-wise that you go buy fluoro at fishrun.com. We make a whole lot less on mono, but all you need is mono. Just being completely candid. So I do think that is a big part of it. Obviously, it's been marketed well. There is this old myth that it's invisible, and I think that does play a lot into it. Why it still gets pushed so hard, because it's a moneymaker. It's tough to get rich. I mean, I think Andy might be one of the few that has made it long term as primarily a monofilament company in America. There hasn't been that many others that have really made it just on kind of one SKU like that. Whereas fluoro, you can come out, create something new, or have some new wild color, pink or whatever, and do pretty well just because it's got a little marketing hype and there's more money behind it.
And Andy does have fluoro, by the way. They did come. I'm sure it's because it was asked for. And we get all the time. People ask, "Hey, what fluoro do you recommend?" And I, obviously we have it. You can buy it. But I say, "Hey, I actually don't recommend fluoro at all. I've done a lot of testing, and mono I think is provably better, and it's way less expensive. So here's the link to the mono. But if you do want fluoro, this Blue Label is the best fluoro that I've tested so far. It's what I used to use. Again, I just don't recommend it because the regular mono seems better. And I think why people are so diehard on fluoro is because it can't. They're both nylon lines, so it can't cost that much more to make fluorocarbon. Yet they sell it for 9 to 10 times more per yard. That's a lot of money to put into advertising and paying the talking heads on TV shows or whatever to spout how awesome it is. So yeah, I mean, it's been hit so hard that a lot of people don't even say leader line; they just say my fluoro. Like it's not even a leader; it's a fluoro. It's just it's been hit really hard, and that's why I was a total believer. That's why I'm so mad about it, because I spent a lot of money on fluorocarbon, and it's just killing me knowing that those breakoffs I've had obviously over time you have a lot of breakoffs, especially on the bigger fish. And I'm just thinking like, man, like I was overpaying for line to have my big catches, like my catches of lifetime, have them more easily get away. Like, what if I was using this less expensive mono on the situations where I lost that trophy? It's like, man, like I overpaid to lose that trophy. That's like, it kills me. So that's why I try to spread the word, man. And if there's testing showing otherwise, I'd love to see it, and I'll be quick to switch if there is some proof. But we've been hitting it pretty hard over the years and have yet to see anybody come back with like an actual test showing that fluorocarbon's better. So I'll just continue recommending against it. It's just it's one of the rare things that you pay more for worse results, and I don't understand it.
Well, I don't have too much more to say on there, except for, go watch some of the different studies and some of these tests that we've done. You can go to saltstrom.com or go to YouTube's, might be even the better one, and just search for them all. We'll try to put some links down in the show notes depending on where you're watching or listening to this. And test it out for yourself. Ask. I did a podcast. I guess it goes live this week on Unchurched, the unchurched side of things, and it was just talking about being kind of more like a scientist. There's an issue here in America and really worldwide where people just hear one thing, and based on what they already believe, they just bash the other person's an idiot. Because we've even heard that you guys are idiots. Like, all right, well, tell me why you think fluoro's better, and show me like where you're like, oh, because of that. And like, all right, well, tell me more. Like, where did you see this? And a lot of times, if you just start asking those questions, like, you know what, I did just overhear that 20 years ago that it's invincible, and maybe I haven't really tested this stuff out. And so we are trying to do that. Is it perfect? No. As I said, unless one of us or all of us can somehow morph ourselves into a fish, we don't know exactly what they see. But it is kind of silly when you talk about something being invisible that's maybe way up here, and the thing that they're about to hit and put in their mouth has a treble hook coming off of it for you bass anglers or any saltwater guys that still use treble hooks instead of singles. Either way, there's a hook coming out. You got jig heads. You got all kinds of funky stuff that is certainly not invisible in any sort of water clarity. So we'd love feedback on this. Comment down below. And if you've seen studies that either refute or back this up, let us know as well. We love this stuff, and we're trying to be like scientists and just get down to the truth.
Yeah, and then if you have line recommendations, hey, like have you tested this one? I've been using this fluoro and I swear it's awesome. Like, please let us know. We're not going to take down anything. Like, we are not totally just against fluoro just to be against it. It's just we haven't yet seen a line test well. And so if you have any that you think are awesome, let us know, and we'll I'll be happy to get. I have some test equipment. It's a pain to put together the test equipment, so we already have it. So I'll be happy to do it, and we'll just publish the results. And if there is one that proves, I will say it. Like we'll add it to the shop as well. We're doing this for ourselves as well as for members. So yeah, as soon as there is a line that is provably better, then I'm all up for changing. That'll be no hesitation. So we would love to have some recommendations for additional lines to test out.
Yep. And Luke will continue to keep doing these knot contests. I saw from our overall email engagement that knot email, Luke, you did the Toit one, was one of our best engaged emails in quite some time. And the last podcast about the wind knots was one of our top podcasts, definitely our top one of 2026. And we only had a couple. But we'll continue to keep doing a whole lot more on this. And if you want other ways to save money, join the Insider Club. All of our members get 20 to 30% off everything in our store. And we try to keep our store, with the exception of fluoro, mostly down to stuff that we know works and is the best in class. As Luke said, we keep it for the same reason Andy came up with stuff. We just half our members are begging for it, saying we're going to buy it somewhere else. Like, all right, if you really want it that bad, we'll put it in the store. But for the most part, everything is in there, stuff that we've tested, we believe to be best in class. And now we've got Sportsman's Guide as well. So all past members and any future members, at least as I'm recording this, will get free Sportsman's Guide membership as well. And so now you can save tons of money on everything from all your hunting and outdoor and camping, shooting, guns, etc. I mean, they have everything you can imagine for the outdoorsman or outdoors woman. And that's a free membership you get when you join the Salt Strong Insider Club. So anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Yeah, join the club. If you're serious about getting better at inshore saltwater fishing, there's nothing that comes close. You know, we have over 10 years of analysis on fish behavior, as well as on how equipment performs. And we purposely have not accepted any sponsorships. We've had a pact to not accept any sponsorships so that we can give unbiased feedback on things like this, where we're actually giving you advice on saving money on products. So yeah, join the club. It's guaranteed to work. If somehow it doesn't, get your money back. We're here to help, and yeah, it's been thrilling to just help so many fishermen get just have better memories on the water with loved ones and friends. So.
And that's all at saltstrong.com to sign up. And the website for all the tackle is fishstrong.com. So hope that helps. Hope to see you guys over there. And we appreciate all the feedback as always. Peace out, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. To find us on the water if there was a way. Said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. For he's the reason why we are this way. And he put fishing